Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Movie Battleground. Got an exciting matchup today. We're going to jump right into it here. My name's Kirk Kolkowski. I'm going to be your host and lead judge. Joining me, I got two other great judges going to help us sort all this out. First, you know him, you love him. Our number one judge is Grant Gregory. Grant, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well, mate. Happy to be here again. Late replacement for Sean Sandberg, but I'll give this match my best judging abilities.
Well, we appreciate you jumping in. Thanks a lot, Grant. And making his second appearance as judge, rounding out the panel here, we got Joe. Joe, how you feeling about this match today?
I'm feeling good about this match. Two great competitors. Excited to see what they bring to the table.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Let's real quick introduce our competitors.
Guys, it's Matt here, and I'm back playing against Doug Cassel. Now, Doug, you do have a knockout, and I'm not going to take that lightly.
So they got me facing Matt here. Matt, I respect you. I really do. You're everybody's favorite stepping stool in this league. Because every kind of great player has to face you, I guess.
But you haven't played anybody yet. That is a top 20 competitor. Who have I played? Oh, Chance Ellison, who's in a number one contenders match. Oh, Brooklyn Vale, who just recently was in a championship match. These are guys I play against. These are guys that I compete against, and it's always a close game.
I don't mince my words. I come in and I attack. And that's what I plan on doing today. And I'm going to continue to do it in this league. Matt, I'm sorry that you have to be the next victim of my path.
With you, you're not them. You'll never be them. So I'm going to destroy you. Now, I have yet to have a knockout. Although one of my matches that I won, I was up 3-0 at one point. So maybe I should have a knockout because that was when we had the 4-point thing. But that's besides the point.
But I'm taking the championship and I'm going for it. There's no stopping me this time. I plan on being the champ, not losing to the champ. I plan on beating him.
Here's the thing, Doug. I like you. You're a good dude. You edit these promos. You do a lot of good work. You're doing a lot of good work with nerd fights and all the leagues that we have coming up. But you're just a stepping stone in my path to that title match against Cody Newberry, where he will knock me out, and I have to destroy you to get there. So, Doug, I wish you luck in the rest of your career. But I'm sorry to say, this is going to be a destruction. Just don't let this make you think that you have to quit after our match.
My prep game is on a completely different level now. I don't think anybody's ready for it. And I don't think you're ready for it. So guess what? It was fun beating you.
They're both hungry, ready to go, so let's jump right into it real quick, go over the rules. We start out with 3 main round questions. You guys will each get 90-second opening, 5 minutes of general battle, and then 60 seconds to wrap it up. If need be, there will be a speed round. We'll talk about that when and if we get to it. So with that said, let's get to it. Round 1. Got a pretty straightforward question to get you guys going here. It is, what is the best Jackie Chan action sequence? And with your 90-second opening, Doug, we will start with you whenever you begin talking. Joe will start your timer.
When it comes to Jackie Chan, there's one scene that comes to mind, an epic scene, a scene that advanced his career, and that would be the end fight scene in Drunken Master 2. With the ability, while drunk, yes, I am telling you the honest truth, behind the facts, behind the scenes, it was noted that he drank an entire bottle of rum to get himself in the mindset to be able to do this amazing scene. A super tense scene that leaves you with the ability to not understand if Jackie Chan is going to make it out of this. Is he going to make it out of the factory that's burning down around him? But this is also the point, because it comes to him having to know that he has to win this match. If he doesn't, it's over. It's over for him there. And he wins and he pulls it out. If you look at any other film in Jackie Chan's filmography, you'll notice that this fight took him to another level. Even fights that he has done past that film have never touched this film. Even in Drunken Master 1, nothing was as taxing or taking a toll on his body as this film did. You can see it with his face, you see the anguish that every punch that lands, every time that he breaks a crate, when he gets thrown into the metal box, he feels it with his entire body, and you get engulfed in this scene, and it makes
Time.
All right, great opening there, Doug. And one rule change I did forget to mention: the extra minute you guys usually get will now be can now be added to your opening or closing. So you do have that option throughout the match. Doug, I hope you don't want to use it there. Sorry, so we have Doug going with Drunken Master 2, the big fight at the end scene there. And so Matt, your opening rebuttal, 90 seconds. Which Jackie Chan action scene did you pick?
Look, I'm going to keep it simple. I like a fight that keeps its tone throughout the entire fight, and that is, of course, a ladder fight from First Strike. This is not a fight that changes its tone just out of the blue in the middle of the fight. It sticks to what it is. You have great choreography. I would argue it's better choreography than in his fight, but we'll get to that later. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Okay, so we have Matt fighting for the big ladder fight. So now, guys, just like Jackie Chan, you get to fight it out. I hope you got some of the same moves. You got 5 minutes. Whenever you're ready, duke it out.
Look, I pointed it out in my opening. Your fight, at first, I will admit, when you have that opening fight while he's going through fire, it's like, wow, this actually is a really good fight. This might be his best. But then it completely changes its tone. It goes from like a fight where you can actually feel the emotions, you actually feel scared, to this whole silly goofball, oh, let's throw it in. It's something. It's like you take Batman versus Superman and you change it to like Ant-Man. That's how it felt, just like in the split of a second. And it throws you off, and it kind of ruins the fight just right there, and all the things you liked beforehand are just gone at that point. But with my fight, it keeps its tone completely.
Okay, I understand that, but here's countering your argument that it loses its gruff, because you don't get the actual brunt of the fight until he takes that drink of that wine, until he engulfs that whole thing. With your fight didn't even invent the ladder fight or make it the best ladder fight. Excuse me one second. I'm sorry for that. The best ladder fight that's ever been known to martial art history was invented by Jet Li 5 years before yours in 1991 in Once Upon a Time in China. Your fight isn't even the best gang fight. You could go with Rumble in the Bronx or the much more superior movie Police Story 1.
But we're not talking about what's the best fight in just that certain category involving a certain item. We're talking about the best Jackie Chan fight. Don't change the argument on that point. Just don't change it at all, because if you're going to change it, I can take the first Drunken Master with yours, has better fights than in the second one. Plus, when you go to that second fight, it's literally so over the top, it's so jarring, because you have the leg, it takes you out from what actually felt like an actual dramatic fight.
If you know anything about that final fight, that's actually what it is. It's called a fake out. Secondly, I wasn't taking away from your fight. I was stating that your fight isn't the best gang fight. It's not the best ladder fight. It's not the most inventive fight. It is literally...
But it's the best Jackie Chan fight.
No, it's not. The best Jackie Chan fight is the one that I'm stating. I'm stating that it's not his even best gang fight. He's in a gang fight in Rumble in the Bronx and Police Story 1. The better version of that is Police Story 1, a better gang film. Excuse me. The better gang fight with Jackie Chan is Police Story 1, where he literally destroys a mall. Your fight isn't even the best on that scale. When it comes to solo fights...
I would disagree with that.
I absolutely don't with this. Why would... Okay, so give me a point that it does disagree with that, because it's proven in fact that he literally destroys a mall in the process of beating up this gang.
Destroying things don't make something better than another thing. What makes something better than another thing is what that scene is, what that scene matters to the movie. And my scene is more effective towards the movie. Yeah, your scene at first, I would say maybe gets to that point where it jumps over, but your whole fight goes over the top. Mine is actually very crucial. You literally feel like Jackie Chan could die in that moment. And the other one, it's just so over the top. It's like, oh, he'll win, It's just like any other, cheesy movie. Is like, oh, he'll win. It doesn't matter, He could have a brick thrown at him. He could have a bomb go inside his stomach, blow up, and he'll still win the fight.
The only part that you mentioned was in effect that was weird was the the leg thing, but that's an actual move in the style that he does, in the Drunken Master style. And Drunken Master 1 holds no flame to return. The reason that you even know about Drunken Master 1 is because Return of your Drunken Master, which is Drunken Master 2. That's the only reason that you know about
Or I actually watch from the first to the second. I don't just go second, first, third, fifth.
Because Return of the Drunken Master was first released in the U.S. Drunken Master 1 was not first released in the U.S. It didn't come over to the U.S. until Return of the Drunken Master came out.
Okay, because it came out first in the U.S. doesn't mean I watched that one first. I might have watched the first one first after it came to the U.S. later on. I don't have to hold myself to that. I don't go by release dates.
I won't hold you to that, but the general public saw Return of the Drunken Master first. And
maybe, but not me.
Okay, you didn't. But here's the point. It's not the better film. The better film is the one where it engulfs the entire story. The fight engulfs the entire story. It's this fight. The reason that his mastery is so skillful is because he can drink an entire bottle of rum, even offset, and still can perform this. The reason it's so impressive is because he stays on balance the entire time. The reason it's even more impressive is because the anguish that he puts his body through. It's not a matter of, I'm going to use a ladder as a weapon. I can use a weapon too. It wasn't even the best version of a ladder use. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not even the best version of fighting a gang. Rumble in the Bronx and Police Story 1 are that.
But at least with my...
All right, Jackie Chan's got nothing on you guys when it comes to fighting out these movie action scenes. So let's see how you're going to close it out here. Your final blows, so to speak. Doug, we'll go to you first. Close in 60 seconds.
So my opponent wants to tell you that Drunken Master is a far better film, far better fight scene than Return of the Drunken Master. That's not true. Known to distribution rights, known to how most Americans have seen his films, most Americans know him, was Return of the Dragon, but they didn't know who he was. This film brought it to a forefront. He hasn't had an action scene as good as this final action scene in Drunken Master. My opponent, his ladder fight isn't even the best gang fight. The best gang fight is the mall scene in Police Story 1. His ladder scene isn't the best ladder scene in martial arts history, which Jackie Chan considers himself to be a really big part of. But he stole the move 5 years later than from Jet Li. And I'm sorry, that was way better. There is nothing that comes with a Jackie Chan movie. You wanna
time.
Pause.
Okay, Doug finishing up strong there. Now let's go over to Matt. Matt, your 60-second close in for the ladder fight.
To close this up, like I said, when I watch a fight, I actually like to have stakes, feel an emotion, feel like the character could actually end up dying in the moment, and I get that with the ladder fight and, of course, First Strike. But with Drunken Master, at first you kind of feel like, oh, he might be in danger, but as soon as he takes the drink, yeah, I know it's about a guy who's drunk and he fights and stuff, but once he takes a drink, it completely changes its tone to a silly, just over-the-top movie. It's like I said, it's like taking Batman versus Superman and just changing its tone in the middle to Ant-Man in that tone. With my fight, you keep the tone consistent. You actually feel like he's going to possibly die in the movie. He's fighting. He's being accused of things in that fight. Of course, he uses the ladder, which is really cool and stuff, but that's not why I consider this the best fight. It's the stakes. It's the emotion. It's what's going on in the movie up to that point. And I feel like my movie is more powerful at that moment and also has better choreography than in his fight. And I'll wrap it up.
All right. Okay, that comes down to the judges. I'm just going to go down as you appear on my screen. Grant, we're going to start with you. Which way are you leading in this fight?
All right. So real quickly, I enjoyed the back and forth with it. Clearly, with this one, I think that Doug got caught up on distribution and saying what other fights are to do with ladder when, and Matt rebutted that number of times, and then Doug started saying, "Mate, it's a better film. It's a better film." Not saying it was a better fight. In his closing, he basically just rehashed what he said, where Matt actually did a better job at describing why his one is better and Doug's was worse. So I'm giving him the point to Matt.
Okay, that is 1 point for Matt. Joe, let's go over to you. What are your thoughts?
Kind of similar to what Grant was saying. Doug did a lot of arguing for why it was a better movie, but the question was, what is the better fight? And Matt did a good job of bringing up the stakes. Doug was able to punch back with it wasn't even the best fight, but Matt, rebutted that by saying the stakes were more crucial and stuff. So Matt just gave more to why it was a better fight and not just a better movie overall. So points going to Matt for me.
Okay, so that's 2 for Matt. So that gives Matt the point on this fight. Doug, you got a chance to pick that point back up here in this next round. And the question here is, with the Hulk Hogan biopic starting production, what other wrestling legend, dead or alive, would you like to see a biopic be made of, and who should play him or her? And you could also pitch the movie a little bit if you like. And Matt, this time we'll start with you with your 90-second opening. Which wrestler did you pick?
All right, I'm going to keep it real short. I'm not the biggest wrestling fan. I'm going to throw that out there right now, but I feel like that's going to actually help with making movies. I think, as we've seen with Dungeons and Dragons, just because you're a big fan doesn't mean you're going to make the best movie. To me, I feel like what would make the best movie after Hulk Hogan is a Ric Flair movie. And I'm going based on a lot of his behind the scenes. He's known to kind of have some freak out moments. Fun fact, in my home state, there's a town, Fort Wayne, is an hour and a half away from me. He was there. He actually got kicked out of a bar because of how he was acting in there. So I think having scenes like that could add to the humor. You can have the effects of wrestling kind of pile on there. And Ric Flair said once or twice in the Hulk Hogan movie, he wants Bradley Cooper to play him in the movie. So bringing Bradley Cooper in there could add a lot to the movie too, because we've seen what he can do as far as an actor, and just with all his roles from like Rocket Raccoon to like movies like The Star Is Born and American Sniper. So I am going to go with Ric Flair for my choice.
All right, Matt's going with Ric Flair. Doug, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Who's your choice?
Extend it minute.
Okay, so you will have
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
2:30 on this.
You may be asking who I'm choosing, and that's pretty simple. It's the one that I think deserves a film the most. I think he deserves it more than Hulk Hogan. I think he deserves it more than Vince McMahon, and that is the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant himself. This man was once considered the biggest celebrity in the world, not the biggest wrestler, the biggest celebrity in the world. He dominated this sport while coming over from France, not being able to speak a single word of English, and became one of the biggest stars, no pun intended, the biggest stars to ever grace the WWE. When you ask WWF at the time, but WWE, when you ask anybody who Andre the Giant is, they know him. It's not irreverent. It's not lost on people. You want a film that feels like you're engulfed in this world, and the reason why you want this film is because it's a person who was said to be a legendary drinker, but he drank to dull the pain of everything that was going on in his life, every ache, every pain that he felt every day, every person that bombarded him with questions and asked, because he was this legendary, gentle giant. The person who went from being a shining star of not just the wrestling ring, but the world, to fall down and crumble and not be able to get back up. There's no happy ending here. He fought for his life every day. Who, at one point, like I said, couldn't even speak a word of English. And he still became something of legend. Andre the Giant, who was known as a gentle giant, hid away his pain from the world so no one would see it. With this movie, we can get things that the documentary couldn't touch. We could get the real feeling of what it feels like to be this man. I feel if we were to do this today, any WWE, WWF past wrestler it should, even more so than, like I said, Hulk Hogan or any other wrestler, it should be Andre the Giant. My film would have Florian. I'm gonna mess up his name. Florian.
Time.
Okay.
Go ahead and give us the name of your actor.
Monticello with Creed.
Can you spell that for me? Because I want to look him up here.
Yeah, it's the one who played Drago's son.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so we have Andre the Giant versus Ric Flair, two great wrestling personalities, both very deserving of their own biopic. So, guys, you...
Oh no, I'm just waving that I want to speak first. So
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'll be
Both
nice.
very deserving of their own biopic. So, guys, go ahead and duke it out. You got 5 minutes.
So you want to bring forward a person who is nothing but spectacular. There's no actual story or heart to this man. I've watched a documentary about him. It's cool. It's interesting. It's a good film, but there's nothing really interesting about this. Whereas in Andre the Giant, you get a character who will engulf this entire film, and directed by someone who I feel maybe needs another chance after Mother, Darren Aronofsky, who gave you The Wrestler. If you know anything about wrestling or nothing at all, The Wrestler gave you a movie where it was completely inside the reality. You want to give somebody a spectacular man? Sure, Ric Flair's cool. You want to give somebody an amazing man, somebody who was pure electrification in a human form? You give them Andre the Giant. He ruled over all wrestlers.
Okay. For one, you pointed it out before, and I know my guy has a documentary too, but Andre the Giant has a documentary, and I feel like that pretty much covered everything you need to know about him. There's really nothing else to it. And honestly, the documentary is fantastic, and I don't think we need a movie after that, you know? The documentary did what it needed to do. But with Ric Flair, just imagine this. You have the Wolf of Wall Street mixed with the wrestling stuff. That's what this movie would ultimately be with it. It would be a fun movie, it'd be interject, but it would also get dark because of the things he does behind the scenes, how he freaks out, how he thinks of himself. That could be something really fun, and I think could ultimately be the best movie. Plus, we wouldn't be sugarcoating it or being softer, as I should say, because yeah, your movie will be dark at times. That's true. But your movie would be a Bohemian Rhapsody compared to a Rocket Man, as far as like what it would show, how far it would go. I feel like your movie wouldn't, it just because of the man, it wouldn't go too far because there's nothing exciting about him. Yeah, you know, he had pain, but it wouldn't really add to it. I'm talking behind the scenes too, by the way.
You're talking behind the scenes, a man that couldn't speak English.
That's not exciting.
And it's not exciting to not be able to speak English. Well, you know what's funny? You mentioned that.
No, I'm talking about the transition.
Why should we bring a documentary to a regular film, right? But yet they're doing the same thing with a great documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor? And they're bringing it with Tom Hanks to do the entire courtroom scene. So that argument is null and void.
But, you know, I can...
That's great about that documentary. I'm sorry, I'm not going to let you over talk me on this one. Sorry. That documentary is great. It's fantastic. It's amazing. And they're making a movie that's going to be fantastic and amazing. The two are two different spectrums. Yes, I understand that you're trying to say that there's nothing that needs to be said and this man is not interested at all. I beg to differ. This man was known to have the heart of a gentle giant, whereas yours was an asshole. And that's what he considers to completely be the entire time, through his entire career, who he passed it on to his daughter. And the only reason that he's ever relevant again is because he came out of retirement. Andre the Giant had to die. And he doesn't get a chance to do that. Doesn't get a chance to come back. This is his comeback to go even more to people that have never even seen him but know his name. And the reason that you want to know his name is because he's this person and he's this total anonymity, this total just behemoth of a person.
Okay, yeah, he totally didn't get his comeback, even though he had his documentary that just came out recently, you know, that just came out last year. And also, let's get into the whole Won't You Be My Neighbor thing. It's a completely different scenario because this is not a biopic about Mr. Rogers. It's literally an interview. That's what the movie is. It's not focusing completely on Mr. Rogers. It's the actual reporter himself. It's a completely different situation right there.
1 minute warning.
That's what I was trying to say.
It's still It's still a movie about Mr. Rogers. It's relevant because it brings to.
It's not a biopic, though. It's not a biopic.
It's about his life because I'm willing to bet you they bring factors into his life because the fact is that they thought he was a child predator the entire time.
I mean, they might talk about that, but it's about the reporter. It's a completely different scenario, you know.
It's still going to be about his life, and it's still going to be about him, regardless. You're trying to state that mine doesn't need to happen, but I definitely see it lighting up children's life. I see it lighting up wrestling fans. I see my 70-year-old grandpa going to this film because he loved Andre the Giant. Good. I
mean, a lot of people do.
To a Ric Flair movie. I'm sorry, that's a WWE movie stream. That's a streaming movie on WWE.
No.
It's not a big budget picture. When you do big budget pictures, you put people in that will not.
Okay, Andre versus the Nature Boy. Closing arguments, guys. Matt, we'll start with you. You got 60 seconds to begin talking.
I'm going to use my minute extension because I talked for a total of a minute in that compared to 4 minutes.
All right.
5, or whatever it was.
Okay, so you're going to have 2 minutes for your closing.
Okay. Okay, so here's the thing. For one, you say your movie is going to be this exciting thing. It's not really, okay? There's nothing really exciting to it. It's just a straightforward, just run-of-the-mill, it's going to be boring type of movie with some exciting moments. I'll give you that. But it's mostly going to be slow, and I don't think that's what we need with a WWE movie. With Ric Flair, you're getting a Wolf of Wall Street style movie because of how he acts from his past. And the perfect director, because I didn't get to say that, is going to be Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese is perfect at telling these stories, true stories, and all that stuff. He loves doing these things. Your guy had a documentary, like I said multiple times. He had a documentary just last year that explained everything you need to know. We don't need any more of that. And if you want to go to whole Mr. Rogers thing, we don't need that movie. But I'll give Tom Hanks a pass over a guy who acted one time in a movie. There's a completely different scenario in that point. My movie is going to be fun. It's going to be edgy. It's going to push the boundaries. It's going to, like I said, it's going to be Rocket Man compared to a Bohemian Rhapsody where they're going to sugarcoat things in a way. Yeah, you're going to have moments where he's in pain. Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry, Andre. You know, I do love Andre. But that's mostly because of The Princess Bride. And everything I got and needed to know about him as somebody who doesn't watch wrestling was from the documentary. I got everything I needed from that. There's nothing else you need to know. It's just going to be a boring movie. It's going to be super slow. A couple of exciting things, a sad moment or two. My movie is going to be energetic. It's going to tell the story completely. You're going to have Martin Scorsese doing it. He doesn't sugarcoat things. We all know this. He's actually got into fights because he didn't want to sugarcoat certain stories, and people wanted it too. I believe. I could be wrong. But point is, he doesn't sugarcoat things. He pushes things to the limit. Watch Wolf of Wall Street. That's what That's what this movie is going to be, mixed with wrestling. I want a Ric Flair movie. Whoa, it's a great impression on my end.
Time.
All right, use those 2 minutes well. Now, Doug, we're going to come over to you. You have 60 seconds to close on your Andre movie. Whenever you start talking.
So you're saying that we're going to get a movie about Wolf of Wall Street. It's going to be like that. It's going to get that same tune, and you're going to get the same director that did it. Here's the thing that's the problem with that movie. There is no story with that movie. Ric Flair is an asshole, and he's going to be an asshole till the day he dies, and that's the only story that you get. You get no layers. Nothing. It's a straightforward pick. It's going to have no actual maybe from a few supporting characters, but Ric Flair himself has stated that Andre the Giant has been one of the biggest, one of the most influential, one of the most charismatic, one of the most beneficial people to ever walk this planet. Your own person said that. The reason that you get Darren Aronofsky is because he gave you The Wrestler. He gave you something that was heartbreaking about that. This movie will have not just happiness, it will have sadness. It will have exciting moments. The moment with Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 3, are you kidding me? The moment where he stares down a bunch of people.
Time.
All right. So, again, it comes back to us judges. We got two great wrestlers and two very interesting sounding movies. Joe, we're going to start with you this time. Which way you leaning, Andre or Rick?
I'm going to have to go with the Andre the Giant movie, especially within the closing arguments with him bringing up how Andre has layers and more depth, and how Ric Flair is very one-dimensional. He's an asshole from beginning to end. There's not really much to go there, and the fact that Ric Flair himself said that all these great things about Andre. Just seems to me that it would be a more interesting movie, and I think he picked a really good actor to portray Andre as well.
Okay, so that's one for Doug and the Andre the Giant movie. I'll go next this time. And I loved both picks. I would really want to see either one of these movies get made. I think they'd both be very interesting. Matt, you had a great actor. You had a great director. Doug, you had a lot of great stuff to say. Andre, obviously very passionate about it. But I think one of you gave me more about the actual character and who and what I would be getting from the movie, and made me more excited to see the movie. And that was Doug. You told me more about his background, where he came from, what he went through. Matt, you said a lot about how he was wild and crazy. I think that's true. But you didn't give me a specific as Doug did. And Doug hit how it's for kids, it's for older people. It's a 4-quadrant movie. So I think out of these two, I'd rather see the Andre one. So Doug's officially taking the point here. We are tied 1-1 going into round 3. We are guaranteed at least one speed round question. But before that, question number 3. And that is, what TV actor would you like to see be given a chance to star on the big screen? And Doug, we're coming back to you, your 90-second opening. What TV actor you want to see in the pitches?
All right, so the actor that I went with is Trey Byers. If you don't know who he is, don't worry, I'll let you know who he is. Some may ask who this actor is, and well, let me introduce you. His name is Trey Byers, and a person who tore up the small screen in Empire, a show with a cast who was insane. Taraji P. Henson, you have, why can't I remember who plays the main lead? I should be able to. Anyway, it's a cast who's ridiculous, and you have this man who not only was in this role, but he was in an amazing supporting role in Selma as James Foreman. He's also received an MFA from the Yale School of Drama. I'm sorry, this gentleman can do something that will tear apart the big screen. You can get a man who just showed so much compassion, so much ability to deliver an influential part of the civil rights movement, as well as a man who had the ability to deliver with respect to the mental health issues that face the Black community. The reason I chose this man over any other is because of his ability to captivate you on screen, the ability to draw you in, the ability that you need to carry a film. There's no one I would rather see get a big screen shot than him. His range is ungodly. With every aspect of this character, he will bring what he brought to the small screen.
Time.
Okay. Then Matt, thank you, Doug. Matt, we're going to swing it around to you. You got your 90-second opening for your TV actor. Who you got?
Look, this is a guy I've been pushing to be Batman for the longest time, for 3 or 4 years before Ben Affleck was casted. I've watched him in his first big show. He dominated in that show under the worst circumstances anybody could have ever done. He also was a supporting role in a movie that people considered garbage, but everybody who hates that movie says that he is the one bright thing in it. He's the he's the good thing in that movie, and it is Liam McIntyre. Sorry. Liam McIntyre, you've probably seen him on Spartacus. If you watched that, he was incredible in that show. And the reason why those circumstances were just horrible is because the man who played him before was Andy Whitworth. He passed away due to cancer. He had to take over for him. And how he handled that with, it just had so much grace with it. It was so much respect. He was able to carry on that. And I honestly think gave a better performance in that. He shows just in that show alone, especially the final scene that he has in Spartacus, all the range he has. He shows every single emotion, the drama, in that episode is a big final fight. He has what you would want for a superhero as well if you want to cast him in that. He has the dramatic chops you want if you're going to cast him in a Oscar-worthy movie. He has the comedic chops that you need because he also was in a supporting role for this Antonio Banderas movie.
Okay, both fighters obviously very passionate about their picks. Guys, you got 5 minutes. Let's hear what you got.
Okay, when I watch Trey on Empire, honestly, I did watch some episodes. It's not really for me, but his scenes really did bring it down for me. I just it didn't do anything for me. It just was this normal like CW actor, that you would see on any other CW show. I can name 55 other actors that could have played that role that were in CW shows and would have had the same performance in a way, as far as quality goes. But with my actor, he literally in 2 roles shows every single thing you need from an actor to be big time, be an A-lister. He also knows certain people, so he kind of has an edge in there too. Stephen DeKnight, who created Spartacus. And the Antonio Banderas movie was like a mall movie. He showed the comedic things. He goes from Spartacus to The Legend of Hercules is what he's in, and everybody hated him, or not him, but the movie, but everybody actually at least liked him in the role. The schmoes, they said that he reminds them of like Christian Bale in that type of movie. You can watch a reveal. But he has everything you want for an actor, as if they're going to make it to the big screen.
So the problem that I'm getting with your actor is the fact that he ruined a series. I know that you think that he did great for that series. He ruined a series. I was a fan from season 1. I was a fan not only for the actor that played it, for every aspect of that show. That show went downhill as soon as he touched the role. Even the prequel.
You want to explain what happens in the final season?
What happens in the final season? He drops the ball.
Yeah, just so I know you actually watched it. No, the show itself.
The show where everybody ends up dying?
Not correct, but whatever. I mean, some major characters die, but not everybody dies.
Care about dies. Continuing on, you're talking about that my actor doesn't deliver anything. It could be a normal CW role. I beg to differ. I know several people, including myself, that deal with mental issues, and his ability to deal with it respectfully is something that's bar none when it comes to the small screen. When it comes to the small screen, you get adaptations, and people look down upon those people, and he brought something that was different, the complexity that he brought. The reason that I'm mentioning him at all is because I think he can ignite the path that was already set by some of his idols, Denzel Washington, Will Smith, and Mahershala Ali. You have those actors that already stand by him because of his performance in Salma. And you're saying that he's nothing? That movie was incredible.
He wasn't really that good in Selma.
He was amazing.
Wasn't really that good. He was the weakest performance, I thought, personally.
Was he? Was he? Because I'm pretty sure he stole the scene that he was in, the couple scenes that he was in. Your actor literally ruined the movie. I'm sorry. You can say all you want that he was great in it, but he really honestly wasn't. He was flat.
Ruined the movie.
In Spartacus, he's flat in most parts.
That's a TV show.
I just said
You said movie. I was just clarifying it.
And then I said in Spartacus, he was flat. I was continuing my statement. On the other hand, Tyree Byer has brought something that you've never seen before. He brought the ability to dominate a side of the culture that has been so hidden away that people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to talk about it. People in the Black community don't want to talk about mental health issues, and it's a big stereotype. It's a big thing that gets a lot of people angry and upset. And you had this actor go ahead and deliver just stuff with pure respect.
Okay, I do want to go back to it. You say he ruined Spartacus. He made it go downhill, even though the last season and the series finale is considered one of the best series finales of all time. And not everybody that we care about dies in Spartacus. His new
1 minute
girl
warning.
that he gets after his wife dies in the first season. She's alive and everybody liked her. And I think she was in Arrow too. I could be wrong. But anyway, all those guys were in Arrow or Flash at some point. But he doesn't ruin it. He takes a role. He gives a performance that you can say respects it, pays the highest respects to Andy Whitfield in Spartacus. by taking over. And yes, I can understand some people being like, I don't know, in season 2, which was technically season 3 because of the prequel thing, but whatever. But the way he carries it on, you feel the emotion. He's able to give the performance you need. Your actor that you chose, to me, I felt was a little flat at times in Empire, but he wasn't good in Selma. And Selma's a great movie. If I say he's the worst part of the movie, it's not like he's garbage in the movie, because he's not garbage. He's just not that good in the movie all around. I don't feel anything with them at all. I mean, look, if you feel a certain way, that's good for you, but to me, I just don't feel that way.
All right, that's 5 minutes. Which one of these TV actors is going to go on to Hollywood superstardom on the big screen? Let's figure it out. Doug, 90-second closing.
When you look at this, you wanted somebody to ignite a path, like one of his fellow peers, John David Washington. I feel as though, which actually did come from TV as well, for some people that didn't know. I think Trey Byers is going to light this path and take the torch and hold on, because he gives something that you don't see a lot from TV actors. You don't, unless they're movie actors who come down to TV. This gentleman basically started in Selma as a supporting actor, got an amazing role in Empire, and carries that show. Whether you think so or not, he is a major force in that show. Your actor came in, I'll give him that. He had to take a role that was going to be very hard because people love that character. But for me, he was flat through that entire season. Why do you think it only lasted as long as it did? They had plans for 5 seasons. They cut it short.
Time.
All right. And finishing up here, Matt, you got 60 seconds closing for your actor.
I will clarify the reason why they ended it so short was not because of the actor itself. It was because at first people didn't watch because they thought, oh no, Andy, he's the only guy that can actually do it. But if you watch season 3, the ratings pick up. They go up. So I feel like that's not a good point. With Trey Byers, here's the difference between him and my actor at this point. Why hasn't Trey Byers been in anything else, supporting or not? Why hasn't he been in anything yet? My actor at least got a role in a movie after Spartacus. He got 2, technically, but they were supporting. Selma came out before Empire. He had that, then he had Empire. He hasn't done anything for a while. So, I mean, if he really wouldn't, if he was this great actor and everybody loves him, then why hasn't he been offered any other roles? Why hasn't he been in anything big or small? Because I'm sure you could fit it in a schedule that Empire gives you. You could do a small role for sure, So why hasn't he gotten that? He's just on Empire, right? I don't know. But Liam McIntyre had the hardest task out of any of these actors.
Okay, we have our 2 actors. We have all our arguments. It comes down to the judges. This round, it's my turn to go first. And this fight seemed a little bit to me like, I don't know, it was almost like a stalemate. It was, my guy was good in his movie. No, he wasn't. My guy's good in his TV show. No, he wasn't. And you kind of like just, going back and forth there and kind of canceling each other out there. Matt came with some good hits like, well, why isn't anything yet? Well, he's still doing the show, just because he's not doesn't anything on the docket right now doesn't mean anybody wants him. And I think I got just a little bit more from Doug about what his actor has to offer. To be completely honest, I'm not too familiar with either of these guys, and I just heard a little bit more from Doug as to what he would bring to the table as an actor. So I'm giving my point to Doug. And Grant, you're next. What do you got to say about this one?
All right, you pretty much nailed the first thing in the head. They were really good at countering each other's points because we had a lot of things where he says he's got range, no, he doesn't. He wrecked this movie, no, he didn't. Your guy wrecked this movie. It literally came down to one thing. If he's as good as what he is, why hasn't he gotten more roles? So based on that, because apart from that, I have it almost pretty much dead even. So I'm going to give my point to Matt on that last little knockdown.
All right, so that puts it at 1-1. And Joe, you're going to be the deciding factor here. Which way are you leaning?
So like you guys said, I agree with you guys. It was a very even match, back and forth. But I'm actually going to side with Doug because he gave me more on what he would actually bring to the table in terms of complexity and respectful performances and igniting a path to stardom like his predecessors and people that he looks up to as an actor.
Okay, so that officially means that Doug gets the point. So going to the speed round, our score is Doug with 2 points and Matt with 1. But don't worry, Matt, you're going to have a chance to pick up the rest of that ground here in the speed round. Here's how it works. For question number 1, these gentlemen will be read a question. It's a choice between two. Whoever picks first will go first. They will each have a 30-second fight and a 30 seconds to make their point and 15 seconds to close. That's for the first question. So, Doug, are you ready?
I'm good.
Matt, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Which of these two non-comic book franchises is the most successful of all time? Middle-earth or Wizarding World?
Middle-earth.
So, Matt, you have Middle-earth, and Doug, you will have Wizarding World. So, Matt, you go first. You got 30 seconds.
Okay, the reason why I chose Middle-earth over the Harry Potter franchise is simple. All movies were nominated for Best Picture. The last one, Return of the King, won 11 Oscars. Not only that, they also made a boatload of money. At one point, I believe Return of the King was either the highest grossing or second highest grossing. It was the second highest grossing because of Titanic. You had The Hobbits come out after, and also we're getting the Amazon series is coming out that they're spending like $1 billion on alone. So I think that alone shows that the name is, successful on its own.
Okay. Doug, you have, whenever you start talking, you have 30 seconds for Wizarding World.
Okay, first of all, Oscars don't necessarily mean why it's the most valuable or the best franchise or anything like that. What makes it the most valuable franchise is the fact that it continues to make a ridiculous amount of revenue outside of the movies, as well as being able to do those movies over and over again. The Wizarding World, even when crappy, they still bring in a crap ton of movies. And guess what else they have that yours doesn't? An amusement park. Guess what that else does? It brings in revenue. Guess what else happens? It's got a Broadway play. Guess what that does? Brings in more revenue. Money.
All right. So that went by quick. 15 seconds. Close up Middle-earth for us, Matt.
Okay, if you want to talk financial, what Harry Potter movie made no, scratch that. There is one that made $1 billion. But we have Fantastic Beasts. It was a failure at the box office, considered by Warner Brothers. Only reason why there's a theme park is because of Universal and them making the deal. Lord of the Rings is all the more critically acclaimed.
All right.
Jesus Christ, I should put it up with 50 seconds.
All right, Doug, you look like you're chomping at the bit. 15 seconds for Wizarding World, whenever you're ready.
Again, a critically acclaimed does not mean that it's successful. Success is money. Money equals success. Guess what? More money was brought in during Wizarding World because everything together makes more money. That's it. More money makes more successfulness. Sorry, that's why they have a music park. That's why they have.
Okay. Middle-earth versus Wizarding World. Which one's more successful? We're going to loop back around here. So we are starting back with Grant. Which way are you leaning on this one? You're muted, buddy.
Sorry, can I just get a clarification on exactly how the question was worded?
The question is worded, what is the most successful franchise of all time?
Okay.
Between the two?
All right. That's what I had written down. I just wanted to double check. I felt like Matt came out really strong talking about its acclaim. It was counted pretty good by Doug with that. And then I think the nail in the coffin for that one when he's talking about the amusement parks, the plays, the books as an overall franchise. He made what he said made more sense. So I'm gonna have to give my point to Doug on that one.
All right, 1 point for Doug. Joe, which way are you leaning?
I'm leaning towards Doug. He brought it up multiple times. Success is money. Matt brought up how it was prestige, but just because you're critically acclaimed doesn't mean you're successful. So yeah, Doug gets the point because he brought up the monetary success and how it brings in a lot of money.
And your winner with a score of 3 points to 1. Doug. Great fight, guys. Some hard-fought battles there. But, Doug, you did pull it out there at the end. I was leaning the same way. That question was specifically about success, which I think may have made it a little difficult for Matt. but you did hit why it's more successful in the bottom line. So we'll go to you first, Doug. Let's how you feel now after getting your second win.
Listen, regardless of what I said in the beginning, regardless of what I said after the first question, yeah, I was a little butthurt after the first question. That was my own fault. Nobody else's. My own insecurities. I want to keep this short and sweet. Matt, you're a hell of a player. I don't ever look down upon you at all. I look at you as an equal because you are an equal to me. We are going to dominate this league because you're just as talented as I am, and I plan on going pretty far and showing everybody what I can do. Thank you to the judges. I really can't say any more than that. So thank you guys.
All right, let's go with our runner-up today, Matt. This was a tough fight. Going to be a tough one to lose like that. You fought well, but what are your thoughts coming out of this one?
I'm a little pissed. I mean, I did bring up the financial thing, but I didn't bring it up in the closing of the thing, so that's on me. I probably should have brought that up again, because, I mean, I know I did bring it up with the money, but that's neither here or there. Doug, no matter how pissed I am, you're a really good competitor, for sure. You have, I believe, had the biggest gap difference as far as win and loss compared to anybody else I played, and I lost Brooklyn by, I believe, 1 point, maybe 2. But, I mean, that was like with the 4 questions, so, I mean, it's technically 1. So, if we're going by that, I think you're in a good position to make a lot of damage in the tournament all around. And then also, I mean, the questions weren't in my favor. I've never watched wrestling before in my life. I only know about Ric Flair because of the news articles that came out, and I only know Andre the Giant because of Princess Bride and the documentary. And then I watched like 3 Jackie Chan movies, and that's Rush Hour 1, 2, no 4. I watched Rush Hour 1, 2, 3, and The Foreigner. And then the third question I was a little more comfortable with, and I hope that was the one I won, but I didn't. But you know what? You played great. I'm a little upset. I'm gonna bash my head against the wall, and then I'm going to probably drink a lot.
All right. Well, be careful. Be safe out there. Just an update here. With this win, Doug, you've been boosted up to number 5 in the Battleground rankings. So that bodes very well for you in the future. But again, judges, real quick, Grant, your thoughts on this match.
Yeah, overall it was a very enjoyable match. Yeah, Doug had a little bit of a hissy fit at the end of round 1, but I think getting something he was very passionate about in the second round brought him down a level. It would have been interesting to see if question 2 and question 3 were the other way around, how he would have gone with it. But no, apart from that, I mean, a little bit of extra drama, and forcing us to explain how we get there is never a bad thing. So yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
All right, Joe, your final thoughts.
This was a great match to judge. Both competitors brought their all. Great points on both sides. It was hard, evenly fought, and it was a pleasure to be here.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for our competitors, to our judges. Battleground guys, thanks for having me back. Give me a chance to do this. Had a great time. Look for us all around the community. You'll see us on all the multiple shows, and new stuff coming out this summer, later this year. Everybody's really excited about. So we will see you later.